Colleagues, I welcome you to today's sitting. Happy New Year.
On Tuesday, 21st January 2025, legislators urged the Ministry of Internal Affairs to introduce electronic identification cards without expiry dates, stating that it will reduce costs and eliminate the inconveniences associated with mass physical card renewals.
The validity of national IDs was prescribed as 10 years. However, in recognition of the need for immediate intervention, in August last year, the Ministry issued the Registration of Persons Amendment Regulations number 67 of 2024, which extended the validity period of all national identification cards issued by NIRA by 1 additional year. This was in light of the planned mass enrollment, which had delayed, so we wanted a stopgap measure.
Very many parents have been denied birth certificates for their children because their national IDs, their NIN numbers are expired. So you cannot obtain or get birth certificates for the child. So my request is, this issue should be prioritized for renewal and issuance of new national IDs.
Even the 1-year extension, there is a very big likelihood that the mass registration will not commence within that period. And what that means is that the minister will again give another extension. So I want to propose, Minister, that instead of setting your deadlines at 10 years, you could consider extending or setting a deadline that will not be problematic in terms of implementation.
I want to plead to the House that what the minister has proposed, a non-expiring identity card, is taken up.
During the sitting, the Deputy Speaker, Tayebwa, said the Business Committee of Parliament will discuss a strategy to effectively handle the reports of the Auditor General.
So now we agreed that the Auditor General should do a combined report that has a value for money audit, that has a special audit, so that is one report, and we are able to go beyond just financial audits, but it also go for value for money.
The Constitution says the Auditor General's reports will be considered by this Parliament, debated, and appropriate action taken. Now, you find that I have said this, it is wrong for us to adopt Auditor General's reports without scrutiny, because you have even mentioned it, that what is in the report is sometimes not what is on the ground. Therefore, there is a need for us to scrutinize those reports, interface with the accounting officers. Now, when we just adopt reports here, without going through the committees, scrutinizing them, then we miss a point, right, Honorable Speaker.
In other jurisdictions, if you go to Kenya, and I have visited because I chaired an accountability committee before, the report of the Auditor General is adopted as it comes. And then committees request to do further investigation in specific areas. I want to ask you, Mr. Speaker, for Parliament to adopt a similar approach.
We usually improve on such a processes by having meetings with committees of chairpersons. And also we can discuss it in the business committee meeting in terms of strategy. We come up together with a strategy. That is acceptable. But most importantly, Honorable Sarah, the argument was, like Honorable Semuji has said, government will not start taking actions on the recommendations of the Auditor General before you adopt. So now, if you wait for 4 years, 3 years, 5 years, how will you process a Treasury memoranda, which is an action taken report?
On Wednesday, 22nd January 2025, the Deputy Speaker, Tayebwa, directed the Minister for Education and Sports to address the House on the progress of the curriculum for learners waiting to join A-level education.
The government of Uganda enrolled a new curriculum for O-level 4 years ago. The first lot sat for their exams last year. I have interacted with the Minister of State for Higher Education to find out if there is a new curriculum to cater for this new lot of people who sat their exams. But unfortunately, I've been made to know that they are talking about a bridge curriculum, but at the same time, the teachers of A-level that I interacted with, they have not been trained on how to handle, and then they don't even have the syllabus now. There has been no budget to make sure there is a syllabus for the A-level. Something needs to be done now, because we are going to lose this particular lot of people who have studied the new curriculum, but they don't have, especially where they have to graduate, there is no proper syllabus for this country.
Let the Minister of Education tomorrow come and update the House on this.
In the sitting, Parliament approved government's additional request to borrow and also receive a grant in total of over $600 million to finance the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Urban Development Program.
The program design is intended to strengthen the capacity of the Ministry of Kampala City and Metropolitan Affairs, KCCA, and 8 Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area local governments to deliver coordinated and programmatic infrastructure and services to make Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area an engine of transformation and driver of Uganda's economy.
The committee noted that the interest rates of most multinational lenders keep fluctuating. The committee further notes that a lot of time in the loan approval process is lost before it comes to Parliament, as required by law. Further delays occur during negotiations between Ministry of Finance and the lender. The committee recommends that Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development should always fast-track the loan acquisition process to avoid the ever-changing interest rates.
I really would be interested in seeing government having its hands on these projects. We have a lot of project delays. Yes, we can get excited, we are getting this money to construct these roads, but scope, timeliness, the cost of these roads. I'm hoping that we can have a good appraisal at the end of the day, and that we shall be ticking all those boxes.
I told the road mayor that we have given you close to 3 trillion. Yes, 3 trillion. When you add up that money, 3 trillion. Yeah? No, since 2018. But you see, the problem is, I was coming to what the ROP has said, is the implementation. I now put the question that the motion to approve the addendum to the proposal to borrow up to special drawing rights, SDR 374.8 million, equivalent to USD 518 million, and receive a grant of special drawing rights, SDR 34.8 million, equivalent to USD 48 million, from the International Development Association of the World Bank Group, and borrow up to 40 million, equivalent to USD 42.66 million, from Agency Française de Développement AFD to finance the Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area Urban Development Program GKMA-UDP be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
On Thursday, 23rd January 2025, the Deputy Speaker, Thomas Tayebwa, tasked the Committee on Human Rights to investigate the detention conditions of Dr. Kizza Besigye.
We can't continue debating as usual, as if we don't know that the rights of Ugandans in prisons are being infringed upon. The issue of Dr. Besigye has come here many times. Pictures of Besigye looking frail, sickly, are awash in the media and out there. And therefore, as Parliament, we need to be seen to do something, to take a decision on this issue.
What is happening now in Luzira of subjecting Dr. Besigye to cage discussion? You are this way, there is a cage, is that side, is completely alien in Luzira. Anybody who has been there knows. So, Right Honourable Speaker, the issue we wanted to understand is whether there is a policy shift in as far as visiting and interacting with the prisoners is concerned, especially with regard to Dr. Besigye.
I don't want to think that the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs is trying to dodge these critical issues that we are raising of human rights violations. The Deputy Attorney General was here yesterday. He told us he had written to Parliament to get information of the concerns we raised about Dr. Kizza Besigye. And he was meant to give us feedback. Now they are all absent. Honorable Speaker, government is now present. And government is the one detaining Dr. Kizza Besigye. So government should be able to be answerable to this issue.
Let the Committee on Human Rights go visit Dr. Besigye tomorrow, okay? And they make a report which should come on Tuesday, so that once we are debating the statement from government, we also debate a statement, the report of the committee.
Also in the sitting, Parliament passed a supplementary budget expenditure worth 1.05 trillion shillings to cater for the completion of key national projects and activities.
The supplementary expenditure Schedule 1 for financial year 2024-2025 amounts to Uganda shillings 1.051 trillion, which is 1.46% of the approved budget for financial year 2024-2025. The supplementary was issued for, number 1, revoting of funds for the World Bank funded projects of Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfer and Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development USMAID, shortfalls on wage and salaries. 3, critical government policy commitments that cannot be postponed. And 4, expenditure on peace and security, international commitments, as well as supporting the economy, fostering economic recovery. The supplementary Schedule 1 for 2024-2025 will be funded from additional non-tax revenue.
The committee observes that Uganda shillings 234.75 billion is required by State House for classified expenditure. The committee recommends approval of this money to vote 002 State House. Uganda shillings 11.33 billion is required in order to facilitate the ministry to facilitate wage requirements and operational shortfalls for Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. UBC was not provided funds in the budget for financial year 24-25 for these wage requirements and operational shortfalls. The committee recommends approval of 11.33 billion to vote 020 Ministry of ICT and National Guidance as subvention to UBC.
Areas continue to accumulate, and they are providing almost perennially in every budget only 200 billion to clear the areas. In the recently released report of the Auditor General, the Auditor General has put the figure of areas to 13.814 trillion, and which is never usually included in the public debt. It increased from 10.5 trillion the previous year. So each approval you make here, know you are committing a country, you are injuring suppliers, because in the end, the Honorable Musasi's will supply air. You therefore, as Parliament, have a duty to curtail this insatiable appetite for supplementary budgets.
House adjourned to Tuesday at 2 p.m.